Hello and welcome to the live stream. You're watching Black Box Trading and I'm your host, JT. Oh boy. Double top. Everybody's talking for double top. There's still a lot of fear in the markets overall. There's still a lot of skepticism. As I've said in previous streams, I believe that we are back in the disbelief phase of the market cycle. For those who are familiar with the Wall Street cheat sheet, we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it today, the Wall Street cheat sheet. We have this sentiment cycle inside of the markets where you have disbelief, optimism, excitement, thrill, euphoria, complacency, and you go through all of the range of emotions. And in the market cycle of Bitcoin, generally speaking, we have two phases. You've heard me talk about this numerous times. We have two phases of the market cycle. We have phase one, which is the recovery phase, where people from last cycle are actually experiencing a bull market. Then you have phase two, which is the acceleration phase, where new participants and new liquidity and new money comes into the market. But from a sentiment point of view, you will go through this Wall Street cheat sheet sentiment roadmap, I guess you can call it, twice, once for each phase. Where I believe we are currently, and we'll get into the technicals in just a moment, is we are in the beginning of phase two, which is the beginning of the new sentiment phase of disbelief. When you look around, if you say anything bullish, if you even entertain the idea of us going into phase two acceleration phase, the most exciting, most up only market conditions that are out there, you're met with an incredible amount of skepticism. You're met with an incredible amount of just pessimism, and people just cannot believe that that could possibly be the outcome. Long story short, I'm bullish. So let's get into the charts here. Let's take a look at the king of all crypto. That is Bitcoin. Why don't we add a little bit of context actually to the disbelief phase? Why don't we briefly, because I'm sure many of you have seen this. The Wall Street cheat sheet. Let's pull it up. Many of you have seen this. The Wall Street cheat sheet. Psychology of a market cycle. Disbelief. Disbelief is at the beginning of a new cycle. We had the euphoria. The euphoria was probably around the BRC20 boom, the meme coin boom, the meme coin cycle was probably euphoria. Then we fell into complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation. We experienced all of this. Anger, depression, people thinking that the market's over, that they missed the top, and now we're down into the depths and we're never going to come back. And now we're in disbelief. This is a sucker's rally. This is where I believe we are. When we zoom out here, when you look at every market cycle, there's two phases. We've been through this a million times, so I'm sorry that I'm repeating myself, but sometimes important things like this do need repeating. You can see phase one. This is early, so it's very exaggerated. This was the first cycle. Phase one, phase two. Then again, phase one, a little bit of a cool off. Phase two, acceleration. Phase one, massive cool off and even a COVID shakeout. And then phase two, acceleration. And then today, phase one, this was euphoria, long drawn out multi-month chop solidation. And we're about to enter phase two. When you say that, a lot of people don't believe, and that's fine. There's nothing, the only thing that will convince them is the same thing that always convinces them, price. So once price starts moving in that direction that we are calling, a lot of people are going to be believing. So it's just a matter of time. Let's catch up with the chat briefly. Who do we got in the chat? Good Luck Duck is in the chat. 95K or 125? What's first? I'm calling for 125, man. I don't think 90 is coming. I am bullish. KB Cryptosphere, hello. The Fundy AU, hello team. Damn, they want to liquidate this guy again. They're probably talking about that viral shit trader that's getting a lot of attention, man. That guy is just, yeah, liquidate him, get him out of here. Teach him not to use leverage, but he probably won't learn. He's a big KOL, making those, as the saying goes, easy come, easy go. He's experiencing that easy go right now. Gold is flying. Silver will follow. Let's see what Bitcoin will do. Yeah, we can dive into more of the traditional financial assets in a moment. But let's take a look at Bitcoin here on the daily. So we're kissing the 50. We are on top of the 50. Holding it as support. Now, we are at a point here where I'm not dismissing a dip. I think a dip could happen, but I think it's one of the lower probability outcomes as it stands right now. There's a lot of bearish people in the market. I usually counter trade the bears. So as far as what I believe currently, this level will hold and we will bounce off of this level. But should a dip occur, I think the next logical place to look for support is going to be right around 100K. We have the 50 moving average here at 100K. If we did lose the 30, which again, I don't think we will, but if we did lose the 30, that would be the next logical point of support. At which point I would be going long, like very, very bullish if you can snag that dip. Listen, dips are for buying right now. When we're in a bear market, don't buy a single dip. When we are in a bull market, which we are, you got to buy every single dip that you can. Dips are a gift. And if we dip, I'm not calling this a dip. This isn't a dip. This is nothing. This is a dip for ants. This is just Bitcoin moving. That's how Bitcoin moves. But if we did dip down to 100K, that would be a buy. That would be a buy. Let's take a look at how things played out in the past. If we go to the weekly chart, we're looking at a phantom candle. Now, these phantom candles are very, very powerful, but like we've mentioned before, they come with a little bit of a dip. Every phantom candle has a little bit of a dip, not a significant dip, but a little dip. This was bear market, so this would have been one of the more drastic ones. 15% dip on that phantom candle, followed by a massive 263% rally. Then we had this phantom candle here, little 5% dip, which is what I'm anticipating now, followed by a massive 68% rally. Then we have this phantom candle, which, you know, if we get a 5% dip, we're looking at around we're looking at like 102. If we go from the top, actually, it's even less. We're already in that reversal space, but we could bounce off of the weekly 7, which is currently at 102.545. That would be a great spot to look for a bounce. But again, let's look at what happened last time. The last time we had this weekly candle was at the breakout back here at 64,000. And on the daily, what did we do? We came down and we kissed the 50. So we had that breakout at 64. We came down, we got below the 7, we got back above it, we kissed the 50 and then blast off. So here we are, we got below the 7, we got back above it. We're kissing the 50. If that fractal plays out, the next move is blast off. Where we can gain confidence, where you can start to really think about, getting into a long position would be a reclaim of the 7. So reclaiming the 7 is currently at 105,800. So 105,861. is where the 7 is here on the daily. That changes every day. But if we can reclaim that level, that'll be a good signal that strength is coming back. And I would look out, because we're in a strong uptrending environment right now. And the fact that the herd does not believe that we're in a bull market just further exacerbates my bullishness. I love it when the herd is bearish and we have bullish price action. When there is a divergence between sentiment and actual price action, guys, we're at an all-time high. We have a purple candle. We're above many of the macro moving averages. The wave is green. There's a lot of bullish shit to look at. And the herd is bearish on the market. That is called a valuable trade. That is a value trade right there. When you have that divergence between sentiment and reality, everybody, they're pounded with the news every single day. Tariff this, war that, recession this, depression that. They're so fucking scared. Most people, if you watch the news, I guarantee you're scared. You're scared of something if you watch the news. Here's a little trick. Don't watch the news. It's programming, it's propaganda, it's bullshit, and it'll do zero for your trading account. Do not watch the news. But I forget the point I was trying to make there. Don't watch the news. There's a divergence. That's the point. There's a big divergence between sentiment and reality. The reality is Bitcoin's pumping. The reality is gold is moving up. The reality is silver is looking like it wants to have a breakout. The reality is the NASDAQ is on a recovery. The reality is the S&P 500 is on a rally. Yet sentiment is so bearish. If you are a trader and you are looking for opportunities in the market, opportunity is calling. Open up your ears. Listen. Look at the charts. The charts are truth. Men lie. Women lie. The charts don't lie. I have to steal that quote from Crypto U University. But it's true. Don't listen to people. The incentives of news are skewed. If the news can make you afraid, they can grab your attention. When they can grab your attention, they can sell you shit during commercials. Look at the truth. This is the truth. It's right here. You can see it. It's green. The truth is green. Don't be bearish. All right. That's enough of the rant. That's the morning rant for today. If you guys like the rants, like it. If you don't like the rants, dislike the video. Although no, that if you dislike the video, you won't see. The algo will say, oh, we'll show you other shit. So Bitcoin's looking good, honestly. Like a little bit of a dip. Like, what is this dip anyways? Currently sitting at 7%. That's just another day on the blockchain, baby. That's nothing. Thinking we bounce. If we go down to some smaller time frames, we have a little bit of a divergence, an actual technical divergence, not a sentiment divergence taking place here. It's not much, but you can see how the RSI is holding at a much higher level. You can see that the RSI has this kind of head and shoulders formation taking place, whereas price is a little bit different from that. It's almost equal. I don't know, it's debatable. It's debatable whether you could call it equal, but RSI is at a much higher level. So it's holding strength. The RSI is showing that people are willing to show up. There's strength coming back into the market. If we take a look at the volume, is this on the index? Yeah, you can see the volume spikes coming into. Volume's picking up. People are establishing a floor. A floor is taking place here. If we turn on the VPVR, let's see how things are looking here. We're right on the point of control. We are right above the point of control here on the volume profile visible range. I don't know. The only thing that people are bearish about is their emotions. And I don't trade emotions. I look at the facts, and the facts in the chart are showing me that there's a lot of things to be bullish about. So I don't know. Opportunity. Rumors that Jay Powell will resign. Well, that could be a catalyst. That could be a catalyst for sure. Mr. JFK, Baloo the Bull. Yeah. In a bull market, I'm JT. In a bear market, I'm Baloo the Bear. James Wynn just got liquidated and lost millions. The market makers just hunted his liquidation price. Good. Fuck that guy. That guy doesn't deserve any money. Fuck him. Take it all. All right. Let's see how the rotation is taking place. I know a lot of people are interested in when Baloo the Bear will stop being so bearish on altcoins. But we're still climbing. Sorry, altcoin traders. Hate to break it to you, but we're still climbing in dominance. For those who don't know how to read this chart, as long as this keeps going up, you do not trade altcoins. When this chart goes up, altcoins go down. Keep it simple. That's it. If you're an altcoin trader, don't touch alts. It's not ready. It's not time. This chart's going up. You make more money. You know, everybody wants to be in altcoins because they want to make a bunch of money, right? When this chart is going up, you make the most money in Bitcoin. I know that that blows people's minds and they just can't wrap their head around it, because when the alts have good days, it's like, 15% in a day, 20% in a day. Yes. But you're discounting all the other days where it went down 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. And Bitcoin didn't. So yes, Bitcoin only went up 5% on a good day, but it didn't go down 15% on a bad day. So trust me when I say, when this chart is going up, the best altcoin that you can buy is Bitcoin. It's not an altcoin at all. You just buy Bitcoin. When this chart is going up, buy Bitcoin. You will be a way better altcoin trader if you do that. My dad has some BTC and I manage his wallet. He recently asked me how to buy BTC with all the remaining cash in his wallet if price drops to 100K. I told him it's better to enter gradually, but he said no. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to go all in, let him hold out for 100, you know? Let him hold out for 100. And then he'll buy at 125 like everybody else. It's better to DCA. It depends on your involvement. It depends on your involvement. If you're going to be a casual observer, just DCA. Even better. DCA cash, like build a cash position when the wave is green, and then build a Bitcoin position when the wave is red. You can, you accumulate when the wave is red because you're getting more value in a downtrend. And then you just reap the rewards. You're taking profits in the green. There's lots of different ways that you can trade our indicator. Or even better yet, DCA and then do an all-in buy on the green diamond. Just tell them to buy now. Buy now. And when it's at, 700K at the end of this year, I know that sounds fucking crazy, but I am crazy. He can sell half, and then buy back when you get the green diamond, the bear market green diamond that we all know and love, that has called every bear market bottom. It's the best buy in crypto right there. This is the best indicator buy in the entire crypto space right here. These three buys, boom. And our indicator does it for free. If you guys are interested, go to blackbox.pro and get in the group. Create an account, email, password, get into the Discord, and you will have access to these bear market buy signals. We feed them directly to the Discord. Now, don't come in and expect it to happen right away. We're still in the bull market. These happened at the depths of the bear market, and there's only been 3 signals in Bitcoin's entire existence. So these are super, super, super rare. So don't like expect to come in and be like, when's the green diamond gonna flash? It's not gonna flash for like probably 18 months. But when it does, sell the house, sell the wife, sell the kids, sell the dog, sell the cars, sell everything. Got something on the stove. Sell everything and go in on those green diamonds. That's what I did this cycle. Last cycle I bought, but this cycle I sold everything and went all in on Bitcoin at the green diamond. Very happy to have done so. All right. How are we looking on the low time frames? Yeah, there's really, as far as actionable stuff here, you could totally go long here. I think that it's not a textbook divergence, but to me, this is enough of a floor to look for longs. We're sitting right on support here. If you were to go long here, you've got really good risk to reward. You've got really good risk to reward here. Like, that's no risk. You got 2% to play with. Yeah, you've got real good protection here. And you've got a good amount of upside. I think, if we do rally off this level, we're breaking all-time highs. So you've got at least, you're almost at a 4-to-1 risk ratio on this trade right here. Not financial advice. I'm already in. So I'm not taking that trade. But you may want to. When do you think retail will start investing in crypto? I mean, Bitcoin is over 100K and no one cares. Over 150. As soon as it just starts going up consistently, it's not a numbers thing. It's a comfort thing. As soon as people see, like, as soon as they start to, so $150,000 Bitcoin will make the news. It'll end up in the news. It'll be all over CNBC. It'll be all over any trading program or financial program anywhere in the world. So then people will see it and they'll be like, holy shit, 150,000. That's crazy. And then the next week it'll be at 160. And then the next week it'll be at 165. And then the next week it'll be at 170. And people will be like, shit, I got to FOMO in. So it's not a matter of the actual price tag. It's a matter of how often they keep seeing it go up. And then you get into this feedback loop, and that's what feeds into the euphoria phase. That's what feeds into the phase 2 acceleration phase, where it's just this constant cycle of people FOMOing in, the price gets bid up, nobody's selling, and then it makes news. Okay, now it's in the news for 200, then it's in the news for 250, then it's in the news for 300, then it's in the news for 500, and it's this feedback, this flywheel effect of price discovery. So it's just a matter of how quickly. That's the simple answer is how quickly is price advancing? When price is moving quick, retail's jumping in quick. We all thought that they would be excited at 100K. There is a lot of talk about unit bias now. I don't know how we can break through the unit bias dilemma with retail, because they see 100K and they're like, wow, I'm never going to buy that. So there needs to be some better communication with retail, like noobs, to say you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. And maybe that's the responsibility of the exchange. Maybe, Coinbase needs to come up with some sort of a commercial that shows somebody buying $20 worth of Bitcoin. They just need to see, oh, you can buy $20 worth of Bitcoin. Oh, okay. I don't know. But yeah, the other thing too with the unit bias debate, and I'm definitely on Jack Dorsey's side. There's a BIP. I can't remember the BIP, but there's a BIP, a Bitcoin improvement proposal, saying that we should rename sats to Bitcoin. And I agree 100%. We should rename sats to Bitcoin. It should just be Bitcoin. We should be talking in sats. It's at a high enough price that we should be pricing in sats. You know, you get 9,000 sats per dollar. I don't know what that is on the price, but like, I don't know, 0.09 cents per dollar or per sat. I don't have the number prepared because we don't think in sats, we think in Bitcoin. But I think it would do the industry a lot of good if we started to denominate the asset in sats. Because when you look at the payment processing side of Bitcoin, it's all sats. When you pay for stuff with Lightning, it's sats. When you pay for stuff online using Bitcoin, well, it's a mixed bag, but it would be very easy. It would be very easy to just make that transition over to sats, get rid of the unit bias, and people would be, I mean, how easy would it be to mark up a sat compared to a Bitcoin? You've got this just unit bias thing going on with Bitcoin where people just won't pay more. But if you start to denominate the sats, how much are you going to pay for this sat? What's the price of this sat? Well, now there's really no cap. Maybe it's not retail that will FOMO in this time. 100% it will. You will not get an acceleration phase from smart money. It's always dumb money. Always. Acceleration phase comes from dumb money. Even if it's a mania on the stock market where it's crypto, where it's Bitcoin treasury companies, even if that's like the dominant narrative, it's still retail FOMO because retail is going to go and buy the shares of stock of these Bitcoin treasury companies. And then those Bitcoin treasury companies are going to go buy Bitcoin because they have so much demand for their stock. It's the same. Like the effort, the demand, the energy going towards that trade is coming from retail. It always comes from retail. You don't get acceleration phase from smart money because smart money bought in the bear market. Smart money, real smart money was buying at 20K. If you bought Bitcoin above 20K, I'm not calling you dumb money because if you're in now, you're good, but you're not smart money. You're not that classification of investor that saw value when nobody else did and took a position when nobody else did. They hold the lion's share and they're not selling. When they start to sell, that'll be the beginning of the bear market. But we need that retail mania phase. You don't get a mania without retail. So it absolutely will be retail. Or some retail derivative. Speaking of Bitcoin treasury companies, GME is getting ready to go here, guys. I don't know how else to say it, but GME is getting ready to fucking take off. If you are a GameStop fan, which, you know, if you're a GameStop fan because they're buying Bitcoin, honestly, just buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the way better play. You'll probably get your ass handed to you if you do the GameStop play. But I digress. GameStop's ready to blow. It's ready to move. It had a big change of character here. Big move on speculation. Consolidation, rightfully so. Then they took a actual position that they disclosed in Bitcoin. And now we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, and we have a higher high. This will result in a higher low if this isn't already the higher low, and we will have a breakout higher high. As soon as GameStop, I'm going to get rid of this support because I don't need it anymore. This is the new support. As soon as we get above this level, as soon as GameStop breaches the $35 level, we're off to the races. We are off to the races, and GameStop will be going up big time. MicroStrategy. Let's take a look at MicroStrategy. A lot of FUD on MicroStrategy. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of this play personally. I'm just buy Bitcoin. Honestly, guys, like buy Bitcoin. If you like what MicroStrategy is doing, just buy Bitcoin. But there are a lot of people that for whatever reason would prefer to own shares in a stock. of a company that would buy Bitcoin as opposed to buying Bitcoin. To each their own. There is a learning curve. I do think that Bitcoin has a funny way of teaching people how to use Bitcoin, whether they like it or not. And I think a lot of people who are MicroStrategy bulls are going to learn a few Bitcoin lessons along the way. But all that is secondary to the fact that MicroStrategy is getting ready for a move as well. GameStop's getting ready for a move. We're looking good. The market's ready to move to higher levels. This is MicroStrategy is going to make that $700 move by the end of the year for sure. MicroStrategy will probably be over $1,000 by the end of the year. What else? Metaplanet. Let's take a look at Metaplanet. Metaplanet. Let's bookmark this one. How do I? Come on. I used to. TradingView just keeps changing stuff. How do I add to the watch list? You used to be able to just right click add to watch list unless I'm blind. All right, whatever. Don't buy Metaplanet. Overvalued, but it's a reflection of hype, right? Like a lot of people are really hyped about these Bitcoin treasury companies. Look at this massive move. If you bought this, I'm sorry. Like you're an inexperienced investor, and I'm sorry that you don't know how these things move. But generally speaking, when you have these large impulses, it's a signal to smart money to take profits, and smart money has more money than dumb money. Their positions are exponentially larger than dumb money. So when they sneeze, when they sell just a little bit, if this is them selling 5%, this is them just taking 5% profits. It was you going all in, but it's them taking like 2, 3, 4, 5% profits off of their position. And this is the end result. So you got to look for value. Don't ever buy up. When things are going straight up, you are not a buyer. You are not a buyer. You buy when things are flat. If you believe in something, if you believe something has value, if you believe that there is intrinsic demand for a product, you buy it when it's flat. If you do that one thing, you will be a rock star trader. Rock star trader. Buying shit that's just going up all the time, good luck. I'm not saying you can't make money. I'm just saying that is elite level experience. You need to have been trading for at least 10 years, where you are trading every single day for 10 years straight to be able to properly manage and capitalize on these super short term moves where things are just going straight up for like a day or two. Bitcoin exchange reserves at all-time lows. But does this matter really? Everyone on X tweeting it. I do think it matters. I do think it matters. You know, the available supply of Bitcoin is a reflection of its reflexivity, meaning, you know, everybody thinks that market cap matters. It doesn't. Market cap is so useless. It's completely pointless when you're talking about blockchains. We have this weird world where we look at market cap, and the reason we look at market cap is because of the stock market. Now, when you're trying to value a company, what you're looking at is you're looking at how much that company, how much revenue that company produces, and then you're looking at, well, how much of the revenue does the ownership of one share equate to? And it's called a PE ratio, a price to earnings ratio. So when you look at the market cap to the price, or the earnings to the price, or the earnings to the market cap, you're able to determine if the share price makes sense. You know, if the PE ratio is 20 times above earnings, it doesn't really make sense to own a share of that company. Now, everything I just said doesn't matter to blockchain or cryptocurrency at all. Why? Because there is no earnings. Bitcoin doesn't have earnings. Bitcoin is a transaction network. It is a value transfer protocol. It is a communications protocol. That's it. There's no earnings. Bitcoin isn't earning anything. Bitcoin is an asset. So to look at market cap is foolish. Now, the way that you can determine price is how much of it is actually available to buy. If everybody is bullish on Bitcoin, let's just do a hypothetical here for a moment. Let's just do the hypothetical where Bitcoin is really growing in adoption and there's no sellers, because why would they sell? Let's pretend for a moment that selling your Bitcoin is the worst investment decision that you could possibly make. Nobody wants to buy stocks because the price appreciation of stocks is 10% that of Bitcoin. Nobody wants to buy houses because nobody wants to buy houses for investment purposes, because to buy a house for an investment purpose, you would get 5% of the gains of Bitcoin. Nobody wants to sell Bitcoin for dollars because dollars are hyperinflating. This is a hypothetical. Nobody wants anything other than Bitcoin. So let's pretend that's the context, right? If nobody wants anything other than Bitcoin, there's no fucking Bitcoin to buy. So how do you get your hands on Bitcoin? You have to bid way above market. Way above market. So if Bitcoin's at $1 million, you may not be able to get your hands on Bitcoin unless you offer 1.5. Boom. One person, one sale. Bitcoin went from $1 million to $1.5 million from one sale. And you didn't even buy a whole Bitcoin. You just bought a quarter of a Bitcoin, or you bought 10% of a Bitcoin. So you only put $150,000 worth of capital into the market, but the market cap went up like a couple $1 trillion. This is the reflexivity. That's a very extreme example, but it goes back to why is it important that exchanges don't have a lot of Bitcoin? If they don't have a lot of Bitcoin, there's less Bitcoin to go around. If there's less Bitcoin to go around and you want some, you have to bid, man. You have to bid high. If you want to get a full position, like if you're a pleb, whatever, you'll probably never struggle to get Bitcoin. But if you're a company, if you're a Bitcoin treasury company, if you're a sovereign wealth fund, or if you're a Saudi sheik and you want some size on this asset, you literally can't. Like if a Saudi sovereign wealth fund decided, okay, we want to put, $500 billion into Bitcoin, it will take them years to actually get that. And over those years, the price of Bitcoin will go exponentially higher because there's just such a strong bid. There's such a strong bid. There's such a strong demand behind the price of Bitcoin. The price fucking skyrockets. So exchange volumes, or not volumes, exchange supply is a massive metric that a lot of people underestimate. Now, the argument could be made, and I've seen this argument done by Checkmatey, that, the exchange supply is declining, but it's just going into the ETFs. That's fair. However, the ETFs they're an expression of retail demand. So the ETFs don't just buy willy-nilly. They buy based off of demand of their ETF. If everybody's buying shares in the ETF is required to go out and service that debt, essentially, in the form of Bitcoin. They owe their shareholders Bitcoin. So it is it's reflexive of the demand of retail. Again, all of it is coming from retail, essentially. Anyways, the less Bitcoin there is, the easier it is to move in price. So when people tell you that, we are in this environment of diminishing returns, Yes, that is the current situation. Yes, the last cycle, this cycle is less than the last cycle, which was less than the cycle before it. Each cycle is diminishing returns. But if the supply is also diminishing, that model will break. It will become easier. It's easier to move the price of Bitcoin today than it was to move the price of Bitcoin in 2018. Market cap's way higher, adoption's way higher. How could that be? Because the supply is less. There's less available supply. It's all based on supply and demand. If the demand overtakes the supply, we don't have enough demand yet. There's plenty of demand, but we haven't hit that retail FOMO demand. When we hit the retail FOMO demand, I shit you not, we are going to be looking at a 2017 style rally. And it will happen strong and it will happen fast. Why? Because we're at 2017 levels of liquidity. We're at 2017 levels of available supply. So if we hit that level of demand, which was less, in theory, we should have more demand. There's going to be more people that want Bitcoin in 2025 than there were going to be people that wanted it in 2016, 2017. It's going to fucking blow your head off. You have no idea how aggressive Bitcoin can move. And this whole diminishing returns bullshit, it's going out the window this cycle. It's going out a fucking window this cycle. I apologize for my cursing. But it boggles my mind how people can be bearish on this thing right now. It boggles my mind. How's the Bitcoin gold chart looking? Let's take a look. How do I do gold? All right, I guess I can't do it there. I should have the option to change the currency to gold. How do you do that? Interesting. I could have sworn you used to be able to do that. I feel like TradingView has done some updates and they're annoying me currently. BTG XAU. I don't know. Maybe they're doing an update right now. Anyways, we can't look at it right now. All right. Back to the rotation, back to altcoins. How are we looking on ETH? ETH doesn't look bad. ETH BTC doesn't look bad. I was expecting a pullback, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to pull back. BTC XAU. It's not working on my end, man. BTC XAU. It's not working on my end. Oh, there it is. Okay. Dude, I was doing it for so long. I don't know why it wasn't working. That's so weird. All right. It's working now. Still working away. Trying to get back above prior highs. So we've got this resistance, getting a rejection at the resistance right now. It'll break through. It'll break through. Gold might go for a little bit of a rally, but Bitcoin won't be far behind, and Bitcoin will eventually overtake gold. It's so easy for Bitcoin to overtake gold. It'll be wild when Bitcoin's market cap overtakes gold. I think that's going to be the target this year. this cycle. I think we peak this cycle at Bitcoin gold parity. So watch out for that. If we start rallying hard, Bitcoin could peak around that BTC gold parity. I will definitely, I'll tell you right now, if we hit that target, I don't care. I'm taking profits at that target. And I think a lot of people will. So, if I'm taking profits, not financial advice, but just take some off the table, man, even if it's just a little bit. I mean, it's going to be insane if that happens. Take a little bit, because that is a significant milestone. But yeah, we got to reclaim this level. I have it marked from when I looked at it last. Don't even remember, but this is the area to watch out for. We briefly got above, got rejected back below. We need to reclaim that level, and we'll be off to the races, all-time highs in gold price. We should reference this more often. I'm wondering if one day central banks will drop gold and go into Bitcoin because you can't verify your gold holdings. Remember the federal gold reserves? They wanted to look into it 100%. Now it's a matter of how we get there. To me, it's an absolute guarantee. Like, we will, because this is the better product. Military defense communications aren't done via the post office. So the better technology always wins. Bitcoin is better technology than gold. Sure, it's not physical, but other than that, it's everything that you need it to be. And verifiability is really important. The problem with verifiability is that's a solution to a problem that the citizens have. That's not a solution to the problem that governments have. Don't forget that the government is not your friend. The government is in a position of power to control you. And they control you by lying to you and making you feel okay with their gaslighting and their lies. They're constantly lying to you. Now, why would an entity that's entire existence is reliant on the fact that they need to be able to lie to you, why would they go out of their way to add transparency? They're not. They're not going to add transparency to a system that's built on lies. We can run under the assumption that there's no gold in Fort Knox. Why? Because people accept it. It was brought into question. It was viral on social media. Where's the gold? Well, we're going to go live stream the gold. Well, that kind of quietly got kiboshed, didn't it? They're not going to go look. Why? Why aren't they going to go look? Because there's no fucking gold. That's why. The governments have a spending problem, and that's not going to go away on its own. That's going to go away through reforms. And as optimistic as I would like to be on reforms, I just don't think that reforms are going to come in the form of a gentle, cooperative reform of government power. I think it has to come in the form of revolution. And the problem with revolution is there's a lot of destruction. There's a lot of destruction in revolution. I mean, prior revolutions involve burning of records, burning of buildings, killing of political individuals, civil wars where new systems are fought over which is the better system, and it's terrible. It's really, really, really bad. But unfortunately, I feel like we've kicked the can down the road a little too far. And even if the government wanted to change, they can't. They don't have the ability to. If they change, the whole system falls apart anyways. So if it's going to fall apart and result in a revolution anyways, they may as well just pretend like everything's fine and try and control the people to prevent revolution from taking place. Yeah, it's been like this for a long time. Henry Ford of the Ford Auto Company said, I'm paraphrasing the quote here, but he said, if the general public understood the banking system, there would be a revolution by tomorrow. So this ain't new. This ain't new shit. All right. The government's been fucking lying to you for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. As long as you've been alive, as long as your parents have been alive, as long as your parents' parents have been alive, they've always been lied to. And they're pretty good at it. I mean, they're still getting away with it today. So I don't know what needs to change in order to, reach a breaking point. Because honestly, I look at the people today, I look at the generation of people coming up, Gen Alpha and all that shit. Like, they have no fucking chance. And they ain't starting a war. They ain't doing any revolution. So we probably have a few more generations of kerfuckery to go, which is why Bitcoin is so important, because it saves the individual. We're not going to change the system, people. We are not going to change the system. Bitcoin is a peaceful, anarchist revolution. If you would like to opt out of the system that is preying upon your production, you can. It's simple. Take your means of production and exchange it for a hard currency. Exchange your means of production for a currency that is outside of the system. And that's it. You can only protect yourself. And that's the only way that we could begin to show people that the system's broken to begin with. The more people adopt a Bitcoin standard, the more they will see, holy shit, Johnny's life here, he's doing great. Why is my life so shit? Johnny, what are you doing? Oh, I just decided one day that I'm not going to, pay into this system that's corrupt, and I just take my paycheck in Bitcoin. Well, what else did you do? No, that's it. I just take my paycheck and turn it into Bitcoin, and my life just keeps getting better. Once people start to see that, it'll take a while, guys. Like, this ain't happening anytime soon. This is like a 10, 15 year thing. It's not happening anytime soon. We live in a bubble. If you think it's happening next year, you're fucking crazy. This is going to take 10, 15, and that's me being optimistic, 20, 30 years for this to take place. But I think it's the natural progression, because technology always wins. It always wins. Technology always wins. And it's the role of government, if they want to maintain control, is they need to figure out, well, how are we going to control this technology? But Bitcoin is going to be in the hands of everybody, because it is the best version of money. It's the best technology. It's the best form of money that we have. So it's just a matter of educating as many people as we can, convincing them in a way that doesn't make us look like fucking psychopaths, which is really hard to do, by the way. If you've ever tried to orange pill someone, you sound and look like a crazy person. We got to work on the messaging. We got to work on the delivery. And I think the best way to send the message and the best way to deliver the message is to just not say anything and have them come to you and be like, yo, why is your life so easy? Bitcoin, man. That's why. DXY is on an edge of the cliff. Yeah, let's take a look at that. And then I'll catch up with the chat here. Oh yeah, DXY is, guys, there's just nothing bearish. There's nothing bearish. Got to be real careful around this low though. If we break below this channel, this is a massive channel, by the way. This is huge parallel channel. So it holds significance. This channel was basically established in 2011. It kind of, the bottom was hit in 2008. So the financial crisis is when this channel began. This holds significant weight. If we get to the bottom of the channel here and we bounce, it's over. Bull market's over. It's over after that. If we lose this channel, hyper Bitcoinization super cycle. It's incredibly pivotal at this point. If we lose this level and head down to the lows, and if we break, so if we head down here, lose this level, and break these lows, this is full-blown super cycle. Bitcoin will be at $1 million in no time, and you won't sell because you will have nothing to sell into. But if we come down here and we bounce, bull market's over. 150 is the top. Pack it up for a few years, bull market's over. The Ponzi fiat system lives to fight another day. So pretty important level to watch. All right, let's catch up with the chat. But you can hold gold in your hands. Who cares? And gold is on the first page of the Bible. Who cares? No offense, Jasper, but honestly, like, what does that have to do with technology? The BTC gold chart could be skewed to the downside based on central bank demand for gold as well. What demand for that demand for gold isn't completely driven by the market. What do you think? The central bank is a part of the market. It's an unfair part of the market, but if there's demand for gold, there's demand for gold. Simple as that. Don't, if people are buying gold, there's demand for gold. So you can't separate that part of the market. If there's people buying gold, there's people buying gold. And there's, it's the same thing if central banks decide to buy Bitcoin. If central banks buy Bitcoin, well, there's demand for Bitcoin. You better have some Bitcoin. It's the same thing for gold. People who own gold have experienced the upside of gold, even if it means that central banks are buying gold. Talk about your case for Sonic being this cycle's Solana. Lots of people saying that it will be Sui instead. No, not today. Too much to talk about today. We're already running late. We'll do it another day. It's just not it's not time for altcoins, man. It'll happen, but it's not time. Gold is flying because they dropped U.S. treasuries to buy gold. The world doesn't trust the dollar anymore. Yep, we saw that in the most recent bond auction. There's no demand for U.S. treasuries, so the Fed bought them themselves. Yep. DXY is toast unless they cut rates. Trump was the puppet installed to keep patriotism alive, to slow the collapse. The bankers run and own this planet. I believe that to be true. Yep. Hey, JT, that means we will be able to profit from all of them, eh? If you hold Bitcoin in self-custody, and realistically, I'm going to say some things that you're probably not going to like because it means that, you got some work to do and people hate it when I give them homework. But realistically, if you want to truly benefit from the powers of Bitcoin, you have to run a node and you have to acquire Bitcoin privately. Not all of it. For most of the people who are hearing this for the first time, they're thinking, well, what the fuck? Like, I got all my Bitcoin from Coinbase, or I acquired all of it from here. If the government knows that you have acquired Bitcoin, meaning that you bought your Bitcoin from an exchange and that exchange has your passport or has your driver's license, they have your KYC documentation, their know your customer documentation, you have supplied identification to that exchange, they know that you have Bitcoin. If you truly want the power of Bitcoin to be realized, you need to operate like the Bitcoin network, pseudo anonymous. People can see your transactions, but they don't know who you are. And if they don't know who you are, guess what? You're private. You have to acquire it privately. You have to learn about UTXO management. You have to learn about coin joins. You have to learn about how to organize your transactions to create obfuscation of the transaction outputs. You need to run your own node so that you are not trusting a third party to process your transactions for you. We're talking high level shit, and I'm not saying this to discourage people. Bitcoin is a journey. It's a roadmap. It's a path that you need to travel down. And just when you think that you've learned it, you haven't. And there's this new thing that you need to dive into. I encourage you all to go to this website. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Bitcoiner's Guide, and go to Bitcoiner's Privacy Guide. There's a whole bunch of resources here. And download the resources too, because this is readily available on the internet today. One day it may not be, so definitely download this shit so that you have a hard copy that you own yourself. The Bitcoiner's Guide to Privacy should be your holy Bible for this world of cryptocurrency. Again, if you're not meeting the criteria of what's laid out in the Bitcoiner's Guide to Privacy, don't worry. It's not a big deal. Trust me, you have plenty of time to learn, and you have plenty of time to correct less than ideal habits that you've held today moving forwards. It's not about correcting what's been done. It's about changing your behaviors moving forwards. You're never going to just don't feel like, oh, fuck, I made all these mistakes. They're not mistakes. Okay, they're not mistakes. Just correct the behaviors moving forwards, and you'll be way ahead of everybody. But if you truly expect shit to hit the fan with central banks and control and governments and all of this stuff that you think is within the realm of possibility for your local jurisdiction of government, then you really need to leverage the power of Bitcoin. And to leverage the power of Bitcoin means to operate in a pseudo anonymous peer-to-peer fashion of the network. All right, we'll catch up with the chat, then we'll wrap things up here. Running out of time. Real ranty live stream today. If you guys like it, hit the like. But numbers have definitely dropped off, so I guess a lot of people didn't like it, but that's cool. Whatever. Hard money is the way. Do you think stochastic RSI has any weight in that decision? I don't use stochastic RSI. It's a good way for you to identify a trend. I don't. Bible is the most revolutionary tech when you understand it. There's so many secrets upon secrets in there. The fact that gold is on the first page is a real heavy hitter. Well, Jasper, I agree with you. There. But I might challenge you in the respect that Bitcoin didn't exist back then. Gold is a proxy for trust. And it was the best way for us to have a system of governance for thousands of years. We didn't have the technology that we have today. And I'm not poo-pooing gold. Gold's doing great. Gold's doing fantastic. There's an incredible amount of demand for gold. But I will challenge you in the respect that let's pretend that during biblical times, Bitcoin existed. I fall into the camp of belief that if Bitcoin existed during biblical times, that Bitcoin would be the system that we would use. And call me crazy, call me a blasphemer for saying these things out loud, but the properties of gold, its indestructibility, its divisibility, its fungibility, its immutability, all of these properties of money that we assign to gold, Bitcoin does them all, but it does certain things that gold was never able to do. Portability, divisibility being the two most noteworthy. Gold was the best currency that the world has. The civilizations throughout history were built on gold standards. The Roman Empire was built on gold. The Dutch dynasty was built on gold. All of the most strongest empires in the world were built on gold, because gold has a lot of these characteristics that allow prosperity and flourishing amongst societies and civilizations. But two of its downfalls were portability and divisibility. Gold was not very portable. It was heavy and annoying, and it was not very divisible. If you had a gold coin that could pay for an entire Armani suit and you went to the grocery store to buy some frickin' eggs, that's not a very good use of gold. So the solution was paper. It was promissory notes representing the gold. And that was a good solution until fiat became a thing. And fiat is not a new thing. Fiat is what destroyed the Roman Empire. Fiat is what destroyed the German mark. Fiat is what's destroying the US dollar. It's a cycle that repeats. Now, with Bitcoin, you have portability. You have global portability. You can bring it anywhere in the world where you can remember 12 words and have an internet connection, which today is everywhere. And you have divisibility. Each Bitcoin contains 100 million Satoshis inside of it. So you can pay for the cheapest thing on the planet. You can pay for the most expensive thing on the planet, and you can pay for that thing anywhere on the planet. So again, not poo-pooing gold. And, when you get into counter arguments to what's written in scripture, you tread a dangerous line. But I would argue that the scripture is holding on to gold because of its properties and because of its incorruptibility of man that was associated with gold. And that's true today. Gold is incorruptible by man. I think Bitcoin holds those same properties and solves some of the solutions that result in trust being entered into a system of uncorruptibility. Anyways, on that note, we're going to close it off there. Some real high level shit here, and we lost a lot of people. You talk about God and you lose people. Check out blackbox.pro. Go to BLKBöX.pro. Sign up for your free Bitcoin trading bot today, and you can also get into the free trading Discord, where we are sharing with you our entries, exits, take profits, all of that stuff to help you fully capitalize on the bull market. So get in. It's time to get bull run ready. Phase 2 is just around the corner. The acceleration phase is just around the corner. And until next time, please trade safe.